How is it that you talk confidently and effectively to a client over the phone? Hi guys, my name is Deepak Shukla, founder at the Pearl Lemon Group. We are a business communications growth and development agency based in the UK, USA, as well as serving clients worldwide. And here today in day number 21 of 106 days of communications training, we're here to talk about, convincing and talking and communicating with clients over the phone. But before we get into it, feel free to click the link in the description below to get access to 7 additional strategies that are not shared in this training. So look, fundamentally, when it comes to convincing clients and talking to them over the phone, it's something that people don't talk about enough. And I want to really go through some of the core mechanics when it comes to talking to clients over the phone. So you've got to remember, voice is important. Now, this sounds silly, but there's several people, when I talk to them, I can't hear them properly. Okay. I can't hear them properly because they don't put their mouth closely enough next to the mic, or it's muffled. And as a consequence, I struggle to hear exactly what they're saying. So, projection of voice and holding your actual handheld device close to your mouth is really, really important. Sorry to be so. This is someone with a unhappy face and then a happy face with someone that they're talking to, because the other guy, has got maybe their phone over there, they've got it on hands free, or it's not working. So, just doing a check first of all and saying, can you hear me properly, is a big thing. So that's the first thing. Okay. The second thing is just articulation. So because people can't see you, what you're saying over the phone becomes really important. So just making sure you articulate all of your words. So don't slur and mumble and talk about, and then we get to do this. And then, after that, I think we could work on this. And so articulation is really quite important. So articulation is quite important. And depending upon how well you articulate your words, it can also dictate your speed. Okay. It can dictate your speed, because have a listen to how quickly I can speed up my voice right now. But given the fact that I am doing my best to articulate every single word that I say, I would like to think that your comprehension hasn't changed in the slightest. Even if you're watching this at 1 or 1.5 or 2x, it might get even more difficult, but still nonetheless clear to listen to. Whereas now, if I talk about, like, if I change my articulation slightly and then I talk about exactly what I'm doing, then you might see that there might be some words that you miss. So do you see the difference? So voice articulation and speed are important, really important, when it comes to speaking over the phone. The fourth thing to consider, you can't see someone, okay? So you need to have an active listening voice, okay? So and we'll break this down into 2 steps, okay? So active listening is when the other person is speaking, you need to make sounds. Ah, okay, yeah. Hmm. Ah, hmm. Ah, okay, I understand. Got it. Gotcha. I see. Ah, that's interesting. Hmm. So do you see what I'm doing there? It's a range of sounds that I'm using to underline my active listening, that I'm engaging with what the prospect or the client is saying, and I'm responding to each and every individual tidbit. And that's the important thing there, each and every individual section, because when you're actively listening, you need to listen for the moments at which you want to respond during their conversation or during what they're describing, because there's going to be multiple elements within a piece that they use. So if a client is speaking for more than even 15 to 30 seconds without you muttering any of those phrases, then you're probably doing something wrong. You're probably not actively listening like you think you are. And it can lead to moments where the client is wondering, is this person listening? Are they actually engaged? So to that end, we've got active listening, and it's super important. It's a skill. You need to practice it. Listening is, of course, the other no-brainer, that you can't see someone, so you have to give them time to speak, and you have to be mindful of when they want to interject. So when you actively listen, you're like, okay, yeah, all right, etc. When you're speaking, you also need to listen for when they want to come in and say something, and you need to allow them to come in and to say something, because that's going to be important as well. So otherwise, you run the risk of kind of running or railroading over the points that they want to make. So when you're also talking to a client over the phone, when you're actively listening to what they're saying, you've got the okay, yeah, ha, oh, interesting, nice. It's always going to be little guttural, almost murmurs, and or like one worders or two worders in terms of things that you could communicate to show active listening. So in the comments below, make a quick list of some of those words that I've just used, and then when they're speaking, or rather when you're speaking, you need to ensure that when they mutter something that suggests they want to come in, you need to hold up and give them room to say something. Okay. And then the sixth thing is answer the question. I've seen this happen time and time again where people aren't actually actively answering the questions that are being asked. Now, that requires perhaps some level of experience to understand, well, what's the real question here? And question can be judged by the literal direct expression of what about this? What about that? Alongside the undertones of what the question is really asking. So if they say, yeah, Deepak, I'm not really sure about the report this month, to be honest. And it's been we're 2 months into the campaign, and I just want to understand more. So the questions there really are: I want to understand the report, and we're 2 months into the campaign, which implies they're evaluating the whole efficacy and worthwhileness of the actual campaign itself. And that's what a lot of people will miss when someone uses an expression such as, so Deepak, we're 2 months into the campaign now, and I'm looking at the report, and I've got some questions. So the question there is not just the questions about the report, it's we're 2 months into the campaign, meaning Deepak, it's been quite a while, and I don't know that I'm happy with the result. So you need to answer the question number one, which is I don't know that I'm happy with the result. And the challenge here is the client will not make that explicit, but you have to detect that from the things that they say. And there's going to be different variations of this. Deepak, the numbers, again, this date, this number doesn't make sense. I cross-referenced it with Google Analytics. So there, when you explain away the Google Analytics point of it, you also want to reassure the client that this problem won't happen again, but you also need to tell them what you're going to do to ensure it doesn't happen again. So that would be, the other element of it, which is what's the question behind the question. Okay, so please do comment, like, and subscribe if you're enjoying and getting value from these videos. And please do in the comments write out the 7 steps that you need to engage with to make sure that you talk to clients effectively over the phone. So that's clarity of voice when you communicate. That is articulating every single word. The voice and articulation will determine the speed at which you can or cannot talk. Actively listening, number 4, by showing that, okay, yeah, is really important. Listening when they're speaking or when you're speaking and they want to come in and interrupt is super, super important, or when they want you to respond. Answering the question, number 6, because they will ask you questions, and making sure you answer the literal question, and then understanding the questions behind the questions, number 7, is going to make it really effective when you talk to clients over the phone.